G'day there guys, frequently gets in fights with hobos over pizza crust here. It's your host Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. If you enjoyed today's content, please do tell me what you think about it down in the comments below, and if that's all, enjoy the show. Thank you. Posted by user AnxiousJournalist2, titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting my fiancée to dance to a love song dedicated to her late fiancé at our wedding? Before we met, my late fiancée, Kayla, was engaged to a man she had dated for 3 years who had died in a traffic accident. I had never dated a woman who had had that kind of loss before, so I've been learning as I go, but I've tried to respect that he will always be a part of her story, and I accepted her relationship with her late fiancé's parents with open arms. They stayed very close, and by the time we started dating, they were basically like a second set of parents to her. Kayla's real parents and her late fiancé's parents are all amazing people, so I consider myself pretty lucky to have 2 sets of great in-laws. Our wedding is coming up in May, and Kayla told me that after her father-daughter dance, she would like to have a second dance with her late fiancé's father to the song Vanilla Twilight. She asked me if I was comfortable with that, and I didn't want to be that guy and say no, so I said yes. But really? It makes me uncomfortable that she would be dancing to a love song dedicated to another man at our wedding. I am happy to make space in our lives for his memory. A photo of him is on our mantle at home. We make it a point to commemorate his birthday, the anniversary of his death, and I feel like I am understanding and supportive when she has bad days. And I am 100% fine with having his parents at the wedding because, like I said, we are all a family. But I feel like our wedding is the one day that it's all about our relationship. Am I the jerk if I ask her to reconsider this dance? What are the best compromises here? I personally don't know any good compromises to this one, but speaking on your feelings and emotions about this, it really does feel like she's not letting go of this memory that she's holding onto of this partner. There's nothing wrong with that. People grieve in different ways. But I feel like the attachment is still so strong there that I guess in the eyes of the parents and her, you are going to be an a-hole for this one because the bond with this dead husband is still so strong. Although I feel like personally your feelings are valid. I feel like you should be allowed as the current husband, as the one participating in your wedding with your wife. At the same time, you should be allowed to make a decision on what goes on here. And I feel like you wouldn't be the a-hole if you were to ask her to reconsider this dance. I feel like there are some things we do need to keep out of weddings if you're not comfortable with it. So that's my judgment. I'm going to say that not the a-hole. I'm going to defer from the popular opinion here and say not the a-hole, but do any of y'all actually know this song? It's weirdly upbeat, but the lyrics are very intelligible and are definitely weird in the context of dancing with the dead ex's dad after her getting married to another dude. It's one thing to miss your ex, but I wouldn't want the sentiment being publicly proclaimed by my wife at my wedding if I were the one in OP's shoes. I'll just quote some of the lyrics that OP has provided here, Vanilla Twilight by Owl City. And I lie awake and miss you, but I'll miss your arms around me, 'cause I wish you were here. But it's not the same without you. It takes 2 to whisper quietly. I feel sad because the spaces between my fingers are right where yours fit perfectly. Waist deep in thought because when I think of you I don't feel so alone. I'd whisper in your ear, oh darling, I wish you were here. Jesus, so she is the a-hole. I knew something was off with this the moment I read his post. This is a deal breaker. It's totally okay to keep someone in your memory, but do you really need to dance to this kind of song when your fiancé is there? This is straight up disrespectful. Seems like she's still hanging on to this guy. I'll say it again, this is disrespectful to you, OP, on every possible emotional level. I'm shocked you played it down like that for her. And geez, it was at your wedding? Come on, man. If I was at that wedding, I'd feel a little uncomfortable if the bride had a dance commemorating her deceased significant other, add in this particular song choice, and I would probably just leave. I feel so bad for OP. Yeah, holy frick, this is wrong. I'm with you on the deal breaker. This reads like, I'm marrying you, but only because I couldn't have this other dude. You'll always be second best. If I'm committing to spending the rest of my life with someone, I'd better be the first choice, as they would be mine. Second string to a 7-year-old ghost? No thanks. OP, don't be surprised if she wants to name your first son after him. You're never gonna have all her devotion. There are gonna be days when she will be sad and depressed about him being gone. When crap goes bad between you two, she'll think of him. He will always be the dream, but you will be the day-to-day grind of life. I swear she will ask to name your kid after him. Had to repeat that. You want this for the rest of your life? You'll have 3 sets of parents involved in your life. She will probably say stuff like we should ask his parents what they think. How often do you think she thinks about him every day? You want this? And OP says, I can definitely see where she is coming from with the song choice, because it does seem like it's about a partner who died, but it does come off very strongly. That's the song you play at his funeral, not her wedding to someone else. Any good alternatives you can recommend? I'm definitely open to her having the dance to a less overly romantic song. I've got nothing good for you. Honestly, I would really recommend some premarital counseling to work this through. It seems that you love and support her, but this song seems to send the message that she's not happy she's with you and maybe wishes you were him. You understand she loved and misses him, but she's marrying you, not him. And if she's just marrying you as a surrogate, that's a recipe for disaster that you want to work through with a counselor before you tie that knot. Hope it works out for you, man. Updates. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my fiancée to dance to a love song dedicated to her late fiancé at our wedding? 2 months ago, I married the love of my life. I was thinking about this thread the other day, how it went and where my head was at when I made it, and I thought you guys might like an update. A little anticlimactically, the thing I was stressing about was a bit of a miscommunication, which probably happens a lot here. Kayla wanted to dance with her late fiancés. I'll just go ahead and call him Luke from now on. Father at our wedding, and Vanilla Twilight was an example of a song along the lines of what she wanted, not the set-in-stone top choice like I had thought. I, and a lot of commenters on the original thread, spent a lot of time overanalyzing the lyrics to that song, looking for hidden meaning in every word. While it turns out that she hadn't put much more thought into the suggestion then, this is a kinda sad song that I like. We got together that night and she had made several playlists of possible first dance songs for us. Songs for when she walks down the aisle, music to play at the reception, and song choices for a dance with Luke's father. We spent hours listening to them all and talking about the wedding. We even made a tournament-style bracket for our first dance song in our journal and put songs head-to-head against each other until the victor emerged. And at the end, we talked about the wedding and our relationship, Luke and their relationship, and grief, what it was like when she lost him and what it was like for me when I lost my mum at a young age, what a family is, and all the things we are hopeful for the future. We stayed up until 3 in the morning just talking and planning and laughing and crying a little, and I'm so glad for it. After getting bombarded by dozens of different opinions from dozens of different people earlier that day, I had been worried that I was going to have a conflict with my fiancé shortly before our wedding. But there was no conflict, just a pure memory. After that night, I started putting in more effort to be involved with the wedding planning process, and actually ask for the things that I wanted, which Kayla actually really appreciated. We also took a long weekend for a couple of weeks before the wedding to go on a camping trip together for just the 2 of us, which I highly recommend to anyone who is getting married. Overall, there was a complete flip in my feelings leading up to the wedding from being somewhat insecure and excited but nervous, to being completely at ease, excited, and feeling stronger about my relationship than ever. The wedding day itself was really wonderful and worth the wait. Kayla and Luke's father had their dance to Lean on Me, and I also had a dance with Kayla's mum, and it was very emotional in a good way. I really felt that the day was a celebration of our love, and I was genuinely happy that Luke's parents were there to celebrate along with us, because they were very much members of our family, and I wish I had the space to describe all the ways that they've been there for us throughout the years. My amazing wife is who she is because of all the experiences that she has had in her life. And I don't want to be the kind of man who asks her to pretend that she has never loved before me, or pretend that her grief is something that is, or should be done with forever now that she has me. I just want to say how glad I am that we shared that night together, and that the wedding was nothing but love and celebration. I never thought I could be so happy. I think it's funny how in most of these updates the OP is like, I didn't listen to any of you morons and it went great. And all of us are like, great job, OP, so happy you didn't listen to us. Wait, you dealt with it like an adult instead of overreacting and following the advice of randos on the internet? It seems obvious now. It's funny because when Kayla would ask people online or talk to regular people about her loss, she'd get responses like, oh, 7 years ago? That's ancient history. And basically acted like she was broken if she was ever sad about Luke again. And when she would talk to people in the grief community, she never got that response. It was always, wow, so you're just coming out of where it's very fresh, huh? She recommended a podcast to me called Griefcast that I found enormously helpful. Not just with understanding her feelings, but processing some of my own feelings about my late mum, who I had a difficult relationship with. It really helps to talk to people and to listen to stories of people who have gone through loss themselves, especially people who have experienced things outside of the norm of loss, like grandparents, elderly parents, etc. This is so frickin' true. Oh my gosh. I feel like probably the people commenting just never dealt with a loss like that. There's a weird notion that if someone is ever sad over a late love, that somehow that means they don't really love the person they are with now. It's some kind of empathy gap. Agreed. It would be like telling someone whose child died that a child they had after was second place, or wasn't loved as much as the dead child's. I think one thing that really puts things into perspective was the notion that grief is not about feeling a little better each day until you're 100% better again. Rather, it's about healing and having fewer and fewer bad days. The first 6 months, for example, every single day might be bad. Then the next 6 months, you have a bad day every week. Then, a bad day every month, and so on. Obviously not so clean and linear in real life, but that's the general idea. And I think that that's something I dealt with when I lost my mum without realizing it. I trust Kayla to let me know when she's having a tough time, and she's to the point where it's almost never a very rough day for her, except the anniversary of his death, and I don't see the need to make it a goal for her to never feel sad about his death ever again. I think people are made uncomfortable by grief. They want their loved one to hurry up and move on and get over their lost loved one so they can go back to being the person they were before the death. But I didn't know Kayla before her grief, so I wouldn't want her to be anything other than who she is now. You sound so understanding and compassionate. I'm truly happy that you kids found each other. Keep being you, dude. Posted by user The Lucky Dumb One. Titled, Am I the a-hole for going to my sister's dream school when she just got rejected? So I got into Cornell last week. Honestly, I think it was a fluke. I'm not smart at all. I got a 28 ACT, a decent GPA because my school grade inflates considerably. I had some decent extracurriculars, but nothing remotely competitive enough to get me to a school like Cornell. But anyways, my twin sister is the opposite of me. She's a genius. She has way more impressive stats. 34 ACT, and she only took it once, compared to my 3 times. She has way better grades, way cooler extracurriculars. Everyone always looked up to her as the smart one. I didn't, and still don't mind, 'cause it's true. The only reason I can fathom I got in, and she didn't, is that she applied to the engineering college, while I applied to arts and sciences. I don't know if too many of you guys are familiar with Cornell, but they have a bunch of different colleges you can apply to, each with their different admission criteria. Well, last week, decisions for Ivies came out. Unfortunately for my sister, she didn't get into a single one, including her first choice of Cornell. She checked as soon as it was available and called me bawling. I consoled her and told her that everything was going to be okay, that who cares what school you go to, that she was brilliant and was going to be successful no matter where she goes. Well, anyways, I pretty much resolved that I was getting rejected, so I didn't even bother to look at my email until later that night. Well, I guess surprises do happen sometimes, because I'm a Cornellian. I got in. I just don't know how, but I did. I really want to go, guys, but this would devastate my sister. All week she's been crying and solemn and sad. She's been angry at her friends who got into top schools, especially the ones with the lowest stats. She has decided to go to NYU, but she just hasn't been herself. I haven't told our parents, as I think they assumed I didn't get in because she didn't. Am I being selfish? Should I just go with her to NYC? They always thought that we were going to school together, but it's Cornell. I couldn't in a million years imagine that I'd get in. I've been researching obsessively about it, and I can't shake the desire that if I don't go, I will regret it. Ithaca looks beautiful. It's a small town, which I would love to get away from the huge city that is New York. It seems like a dream opportunity. Am I being a bad sister? I know she would be upset. We were supposed to go to school together. It would crush her. I really don't have anyone else to talk to. Am I the a-hole for going to her dream school? Especially considering how much harder she has worked compared to me. I mean, you're both adults in this situation. Yes, it's hard for her to contend with, and yes, it's weighing heavy on her mind, but at the end of the day, she has to learn that life is unfair, suck it up, and go to the option that she has the opportunity to go to, NYC, NYU. It may not be what she wants, but she's an adult, and she has to compromise and just accept that where and when she can. I feel like it would be out of place for her to react and get angry at you if you got into Cornell and you told her that and she blew up at you. Really, I feel like this is just a big lesson in life for her, and not to take it out on you when you do tell her. I feel like you wouldn't be the a-hole if you go to it and you go tell her. That's the plan. Not the a-hole, you would not be the a-hole. Updates. So everyone here told me that I should go, so I decided to tell my sister. Well, she started screaming from excitement and got, not actually, mad that how couldn't I tell her earlier and she's so proud of me. But seconds later, her excitement just turned to sadness. She went from super giddy to depressed in seconds. And she started bawling, uncontrollably bawling. I tried to comfort her, but she pushed me away and locked herself in our room. I'm going to give her some time alone right now, and we can talk about it more later. So after 5 minutes of the previous post, my sister sent me a text and it said, "I'm sorry for how I reacted. Please don't be mad. I'm so happy for you and your accomplishments. It's just that after I got rejected, I at least had the consolation that I get to go to school with you and we can go together. But now you're going to be where I wanted to be, and I'm just so sad. I worked so hard and did everything I could to go to the best school I can, and I just feel like all my hard work is just wasted effort. I'm sorry I'm ranting, I just need more time." I'm not gonna lie, guys, when I read this, I cried. A lot of you are saying that I obviously have to have attributes that made me desirable, but I really don't. I don't deserve my acceptance. I did my homework between classes, barely studied for anything, took the easiest AP classes available, etc. Meanwhile, I see my sister always taking the hardest classes, studying as hard as she can, always volunteering. She deserves it, not me, and seeing her so hurt pains me. I'm really strongly considering just going to NYU with her. Everyone at Cornell will be just like her, and I don't stand a chance. And I know if I go to Cornell, we're going to drift apart, which would suck because we're best friends, and I just don't want to lose my sister. Update 3. So I told my parents, and they did not react how I would have expected them to. First, they tried to insist that Cornell made a mistake between our applications, which would be impossible. If we applied to the same school within Cornell, like we both applied to arts and sciences, then it would be somewhat probable, but we applied to different schools with different admission committees. They couldn't have mixed them up. Then they went on to explain how I should go to NYU with my sister. I thought it was strange because they definitely would have supported my sister going to Cornell if I didn't get in. My sister apparently thought so too, because she asked why I would not go to Cornell, and they said how it was unfair that I basically slacked off in high school and was able to go, when my sister was the hardworking one who busted her ass all of school. I don't know if I'm being a bit dramatic, but that hurts. I knew they always thought my sister was the smarter one, they've made it clear multiple times, but to hear them say that I don't deserve my spot sucks, even though they're probably right. I stood there in silence, but my sister stood up for me. She asked them how could they say something so cruel to their daughter, that I have 100% every right to be there, and that they should apologize for being so rude. My parents were shocked, because we're both very passive people, and neither of us have ever talked to them like that before. This started an argument, and long story short, we are currently in our rooms. I'm just so thankful to have her stand up for me. I realize that I have internalized a lot of the comments that they've made over the years. I'm glad I have my sister actually believe in me. I still don't know if I want to go to NYU or Cornell, mostly because I don't want to go to school without her. She's my best friend, and going 4 years without someone who just thinks so positively about you just seems so long. At the end of the day, I always thought the NYU was going to be the school that I was going to, so I wouldn't lose much by choosing it over Cornell. I'm going to talk about it more with my sister and look into both schools more. Thanks again everybody for your comments. I wouldn't have realized how important of a person my sister is if you guys didn't give me the courage to tell her that I got in. Updates. Am I the a-hole for going to my sister's dream school when she just got rejected? So, later that day, my parents actually came to me and apologized for everything. I know everyone in that last post really hated them, but my parents are really good people. They have flaws, but all humans do. It's not like they spent their free time brutalizing me. They knew I was smart and even encouraged me to apply to schools like Cornell. They just automatically assumed my sister would get in, especially versus me, which, if you look at our scores, I can't say they should be blamed. Nevertheless, they realized that they were being jerks, and they apologized for making me feel like I'm not as capable as my sister. That they were shocked, but it was no excuse for what they said or how they made me feel, and they love me and apologize for what they said. Anyways, for the moment you've all been waiting for, I decided that I want to go to Cornell. It was such a tough choice and wasn't made without serious consideration. But ultimately, I'll be happier in Ithaca. Plus, my sister is going to try to transfer after our freshman year. If she still wants to go, she may find that she loves NYU after all that time. Whatever she decides, I have no doubts she will be extremely successful. Plus, it'll be good to spend some time apart from each other and grow as people. NYC is only a short bus ride away, so we can definitely see each other during holidays and breaks. I want to thank everyone again for their overwhelmingly positive support. I know I couldn't have made my decision without each and every one of your messages. I'm sorry if this update isn't as exciting as many others tend to be, but I hope it gave the few interested people some closure. Alright, that's where I think I'm going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I really do hope you learned something or just really enjoyed the posts that were put up today. Quick shout out to all my new and existing Patreon and channel members. You should be able to see your name on screen right now, and if you don't, then I don't think you're part of the club, and you really should join the club because it's a great club. And I want to thank every single one of you guys for supporting me in this journey. It really means so much to me, and I love you all so much for it. Thank you for helping me out. As you can tell, I'm now happy and healthy back in Australia. Thank God it's not cold like Ireland. I don't like wearing jumpers everywhere. I prefer the heat. Thank you very much. I know that's an unpopular opinion. Anyway, guys, I really do hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you later. Bye.